Hello and welcome to my video for the dismantling, repair and then putting back together of the Blackberry Bold 9790. Right, it's quite a nice phone to repair because there's only one kind of screw and there's only 7 screws in the entire phone, which is a really good point, but it's a really small size. It's a T5 and some of the bits of it are quite finicky, and because it's a touchscreen you've got to worry about things like a digitalizer and other little bits like that. But we'll get started. First, take the back off, which should come off quite easily, like that. Put that to one side. Next, take the battery out, as you always have to do with all phones. Now, with the 9790, and quite a lot of the Blackberries actually, they aren't like other phones where they have screws in the back. All their screws are in the front, here. Now, the first 3 screws that you have to do are all underneath this bottom bit, just here. To get to them, you have to get a plastic or metal pry tool, whichever you prefer working with, but I will warn you, a metal one might scratch, so I prefer to use a plastic one. Right, to get this bottom bit off, don't go around the sides around here to get off, because you'll snap the connector pins. Start at the top, this side, wedge it in, and click it up till you hear it click like that, and then same for this side, like that. Right, and because I've had this one off before, mine just lifts out, but yours won't do that easily. You'll probably have to follow along the whole edge of it with your pry tool. Put that to one side. Right, now, you got the first 3 screws. You got 1, 2, 3. This middle one, be careful, because when I first took this phone apart, I missed it because it was white, because it had the safety sticker on it. So I did miss that. But you go ahead and take these ones off. I think I said before, but with this phone, all the screws in the entire phone are exactly the same. So you haven't got to worry at all about mixing them up or putting them in order or anything like that. Right, now them 3 out. Get them all out. Never as easy as you want. Put them to a side. Like that. Right, now you got the first 3 screws off. The front will come off, which is the bezel, the digitalizer and the buttons. For this you need your pry tool again. Right, you want to start at the bottom, not at the top, because the top all comes off as one piece. All that metal is all attached. You're going to start down here, and you'll start on the corner, and you'll hear the first click. Run it down, second, keep running, keep running. You might slip out, but that's alright, just find your place again. There you go, it clicked. Keep following it up, keep following, click, and another one, all the way to find them all to click. And then same on the other side. This can be very fiddly, especially since I'm doing this knelt down. I really need to get a better workstation. Never, under any circumstances, just pull this off, because you could very well snap it. Right, once they're all clicked off like that, you pull it out like that, and then that is your front panel. That's your digitalizer, your buttons and your bezel, all the way around it, all in there. That also has your speaker in there. I don't know if you can see it, but it's in there. Right, we'll put that to one side like that. Right, now we have the phone without the front on it. First of all, you want to get rid of 4 buttons now, 4 screws rather, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. And after you've taken these out, that's all the screws in the entire phone. So that's alright, can't complain about that. I might take a little bit longer to take these screws out than it should, because I've got really bad tools, and my good tools do not fit this phone. They are all too big. The smallest I got in them is the T6, which is alright for the old Blackberries like the 8520, but for most new ones they have tinier and tinier screws all the time. But believe me, this isn't that bad. You want to try taking apart an iPhone 4 or 4S. They have the smallest screws in the world, and I think they're impossible pretty much. I hate them. But, oh well, I don't decide what phones I repair. Right, that's that one. Two more. There's one there. Whoops. And then one this side as well. And then once you've done that, that is all the screws gone. Which for me is a real relief, because normally I'm used to having to take loads off. Oh, here's a tip. When you take the last screw off, sometimes that will come off with it. But that's alright, that is just the buttons. And what you want to do with that, if that does come off, is you'll see a little metal catch there. And get something like a little screwdriver or something. And unclick it from there. Like that. And then just easy on out. There you go. There's that. Put that to the side. And then for your scroller button, that's a click down point. I don't know what they're really called, but I'm just going to call it a click down point. Then that will just flick off like that. And then you put that to one side as well. Right, next. You've got a connector there, which you need to take off. Which just pops off like that. Right, I'll tell you now. There's 8 pins there, and that's for your digitalizer. If you break them, your touchscreen won't work. So be careful. Right, now you've got a sticker. Well, it's to do with the earpiece, but it is basically stuck on. You need to be really careful with that, don't snap it. Mine will come off nice and easy because I've had it off before, but your ones will not be quite so easy to take off. But just take your time, there's no need to rush, and make sure you don't break it. If you break that, then you've got to replace it. And there you go. He comes off nicely, and then as soon as that comes off, your whole motherboard will come out. Put that piece to one side. With your motherboard, to take the LCD off, you have to go on the back of it, unclick that button connector, flick that onto the side. Now, I have had this LCD off before, so it's going to come off a heck of a lot easier than what your ones will. Your ones will be awful. Honestly, this is probably the worst LCD I've ever had to take off. They are so stuck on, it is unbelievable. But hopefully, yeah, this one's just going to pop off. But your ones will be so much harder to take off than that. But be really careful not to break the LCD. Unless you're changing the LCD, in which case it won't matter. Right, that's about as far down as I'm going to go. No real need to go any further than that. Nothing else I can really show you other than with the buttons. If you need to replace the buttons, you just peel back the white sticker and then replace it with the sticker you do get. Right, time to put it back together. Take this, take the LCD, make sure it goes in the right place. Here's a tip, the little white bits that stick out will line up with some holes there and there. Just click them together, it won't click but it'll stick down and it will look nice and snug. Make sure you push it down so it's snug. And then you push the connector button back in, like so. Then you get this back. And then that literally just, with most other Blackberries you have to push it in at an angle and then push it down. But this one you don't, you just push it down. And it doesn't even really click, to be fair. But you push that down. You push your sticker down on it, like that. Make sure it's not sticking out or nothing. And then you click it back in with that one. Make sure it's firmly clicked down. And then you replace the 4 screws you took out. No, you don't. You put your trackpad back on there. And then, right, it's a little bit fiddly, so I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there's a little connector. If you have to do this, you'll know what I mean when you see it. That goes there. That doesn't really actually sit in anything to be. Yes, it does. It sits in that, and that clicks it down nicely. Then you take your other buttons, and then make sure the little gate is lifted up so that they go in. And then you push that in there. You might have to wiggle it a bit in, but it'll go in. Just be gentle with it, because if you break that, you'll have to get a new one. As everything goes these days. Right. I'll just let you guys know, before you give me any bad comments or anything, this is my first ever YouTube video. And I'm feeling pretty nervous, but I really hope that I'm doing well. And I hope that everybody can see everything. and I apologise if you don't like my video, but please do not leave bad comments. Right, there's that, and then you click the gate back down. There you go, and then you push trackpad back into place so it's there. That has to fold the same way it folded before, otherwise it will snap. And then you push that back down, and it should click. It's very light clicks, but it does click like that. He's back down, he's in. That sticker's come off again, but that's alright, that just sticks back down. Give that a bit of pressure. Right, now it's for the 4 screws again. Remember, all screws are exactly the same, so it really doesn't matter which 4 you put in. Remember, they go here. Whoops. They go here. Top right. Top left. And these really do not need to be like overly tight, and they just need to be check, just so that like when it meets, and then do it like a tiny bit more. That's all you need. You don't need it overly tight like a machine or whatever. There's no need for it, and you'll probably end up damaging the motherboard if you do that. With them 4 back in, that's all right and right. And then you get your bezel and your front panel again. You slide. I found the easiest way to do this is if you slide it in, push it as far up as it's going to go till it's nice and snug. Push it down. Now some people say they prefer to start at the bottom and push them around. That's alright, I have no problem with that. But I prefer to push from one side and go all the way around. Right, that's nice and snug. Make sure there's no bumps so that all the clips are connected. You get your last 3 screws. You put them back in like so. Right guys, if people like this video and if I get good comments and good feedback and stuff, I will be making more on other phones and things. I have a business for repairing phones, so I get lots in that I have to take apart. So there's always going to be, and if you have any tricky ones that you want to know, I'll see if I can get hold of any to show you how to take them apart. You just click that back down, make sure that clicks down nicely, make sure everything is clicked down in place, so that looks all snug. Replace your battery, put your back on, like so, and then give it a second and it will turn back on. The red light was on before I turned it over. If you just give it a second, it will turn on. Blackberries are honestly the slowest phone in existence, I think. I do not think you can get a slower phone. Ah, there you go. Turn back on. Right, thank you for watching my video. If you have any requests or any questions, please just comment and I'll try and get back to you. Thanks.